Opening day 2025, the San Francisco Giants on the road in Cincinnati win 6-4. It was a ninth inning comeback. A Patrick Bailey single. And then a 3-run homer from Wilmer Flores, all in the ninth inning. There haven't been that many great opening days for the Giants. This, in recent memory, was one of the better ones. It looked like it was going to be another quiet loss. It was 3-2 entering the ninth inning. The Giants struck out 17 times. 17 times. That tied a franchise record for a 9-inning game. 17 strikeouts. Hunter Green was dominating them, with really the exception of the 2-run homer by Ramos. Very impressive opposite field homer. Logan Webb was struggling with his control. He really wasn't hit hard. A lot of singles, no home runs, but the walks hurt him. And that's one of the things we saw in this game was walks kill you. And that's what hurt him. That's what cut his start short. I mean, if it wasn't for that, he could have gone longer. And what hurt the Reds in the ninth inning, the top of the ninth inning, was the walk that eventually got the inning going. You can't give free passes. You can't just put men on. It's going to come back to bite you in most cases. So the Giants win, and that's great. I want to talk about the Giants. I want to talk about baseball in general for a little while here. Not going to be a very long episode, but a few gripes about MLB and the Giants. Let's start off with MLB. Starting the season in Japan, I know it's a moneymaker. I know it's about promoting the game in Japan, but this is an American sport, and it needs to be played here. Opening day is still special. I'm not a Dodgers fan, but I'd be pissed if I was a Dodgers fan. Your first games, and for that matter in baseball, all the games should be played. Regular season should be played in American soil. This is not the NFL. This is not the NBA where you can arrange something like this. Not in baseball. To me, that is a terrible way to start the season. And then we consider the Giants. What I don't like about the Giants is they start every season on the road. Why can't you just have, even every couple years, start the season at home? I mean, you're trying to build and gain interest again in the franchise, which has lost so much since, let's just say, Bochy's left, and during the Farhan administration, and the disaster and train wreck all that was, outside of 2021. The problem is the roster. The problem is not being able to get free agents, big time free agents to sign. The problem is failure to develop prospects and to draw any interest to the team in that way. When you see what the Dodgers are doing, you may not be able to compete with the Dodgers and how much money they spend, but can we remind ourselves again, this is not a salary cap sport. You can spend, and as the Giants, you have to spend more to get the big hitters and the pitchers here in San Francisco. The Giants have so many problems. And the Giants are a second-class baseball organization. Let's just call them for what they are. They're a classy organization. They do things right. They treat people well. They treat their players well. But they become a second-class organization when it comes to competing and winning. And being a place that appeals to all-star players, difference makers, faces of franchises. I just look at this lineup up and down this lineup. You compare it to a team like the Dodgers or even the Phillies, and you say, well, where are the stars? You have good players. Yeah, but these are second-tier players, B players. They aren't superstar players. They're players that are, if you're saying, well, our goal is to win a championship, to win the World Series, to go deep into the playoffs at a minimum. That's the ultimate goal. Of course, every season that's not realistic. But you see players higher in the batting order than they should be. Matt Chapman, really like him. He's a complimentary player on a great team. Willie Adames, same thing, complimentary player. And what a great debut he had, huh? Sorry for being so sarcastic, but 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. Man, I mean, just the strikeouts, 17 strikeouts. Hackers. And that wasn't just because Green was in there throwing 99, 100 miles per hour. Once he left, their bullpen was just striking Giants out left and right. So I like Matt Chapman. Didn't like the Willie Adames signing. Yeah, I guess you got to have somebody. Lee, I mean, it looks, I mean, again, he missed most of the season last year, but it looks like a terrible signing. It was a desperate move because the Giants missed out on big-time free agents again. So they settled for him. They overpaid for him because he's a light-hitting, leadoff type who's really a slap hitter who doesn't even hit for a high average that we've seen yet. He doesn't have power. His greatest skill is being a defensive outfielder. So you paid $100 million, and yeah, that money doesn't mean as much now, but still, you forked over a good lot of money for a light-hitting defensive outfielder. See what I mean about the Giants? And then you look at the players they've developed. Ramos, I mean, it's an accident that he even was playing last year. It's because of the injury that Lee had that opened the door for him. But the Giants gave him such a short leash all those years for being such a big prospect, for being one of those guys who was supposed to be a can't-miss player and prospect. They gave him such a short leash, and they were yanking him up and down, which the Giants have been known for. I hope with this new administration and with Buster Posey and a new general manager, can they let guys just have some time and be more patient with players? I would hope they would be. Like Matos. Eventually I want to see Matos playing. I mean, Mike Yastrzemski, I like Yastrzemski. He's a professional player. He's a solid major league player. But he's a guy in his mid-30s now. And his best baseball's behind him. And would he... It's fair to say this. And others have said this. This is not original at all. But if his name was Mike Jones and not Mike Yastrzemski, would he really be up and would he really be in your starting outfield? Would he be the best option? I don't think so. I mean, I'd much rather go with the younger Matos with far more upside and let him fail. Let these guys make some mistakes. You're not going far this year. I want to see more young players. I want to see players who have a future, have an upside, who may be the next group of players who are, well, the playoffs have been cheapened, but let's just say players that would help you go to a deep playoff run, or who could potentially help you compete for a World Series, who are really part of the long-term solution for this team that has so many problems. I like Patrick Bailey. He's an excellent defensive catcher. His bat's not been quite as good as I'd hoped it would be. I mean, his catcher's gear, let me say this one thing about his catcher's gear. It's hideous. Hideous catcher's gear. But to me, he's a part of the solution. He is. Ramos, part of the solution. Chapman, yes, part of the solution. Well, you're stuck with Willy Adames for now. But you have guys who are really like 5, 6, 7 hitters in the lineup. Elevate it to 2, 3, 4. They're out of place. They're not where they should be. And you need more in this lineup if you're going to be taken seriously. I don't know what the ceiling is for Ramos. How much better he can be. Can he hit 30 home runs? Maybe, maybe not. But it's not exactly like he's the youngest guy, because it took him a long time to get here. You know, he's in his mid-20s. Show me more of him. Let's see some more Matos. What are we waiting for with these young players? And we've had so many failed prospects. I mean, Luciano, do I need to say anything else? He was supposed to be, a middle-of-the-order hitter. Another can't-miss guy. It was going to be Luciano and Ramos. Are we ever going to see him at the majors again? I wonder if we'll ever see him. I mean, he's just a non-factor. Maybe you'll see him in the majors with another organization. And then there's the rotation. That I'm a big Logan Webb fan, and hey, the way he pitched in the playoffs in 2021 was unforgettable. Even though they lost the series, his 2 starts against the Dodgers in that loaded lineup, it's some of the best pitching I've seen from the Giants. Even, all those great years in the World Series teams in the playoffs, that was some of the best I've ever seen, considering the team he was going against. But with that said, to me, Logan Webb shouldn't be your number 1. If you're a serious competitor, he's your number 2 pitcher. Of course, who was supposed to be the number 1 arm on this team? Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison was supposed to be a number 1 or number 2 starting pitcher in your rotation, high 90s fastball. He was going to be one of the best left-handed pitchers in baseball, right? Well, he's underwhelmed. He's not, he's topping out in the mid-90s. Instead, what you're really seeing is a lot of low 90s fastballs from him. And what will he most likely be? A back of the rotation. Probably at the best, a 4th starting pitcher. He may even be a 5th starting pitcher. And then you let Blake Snell go. And I know Blake Snell's not exactly Mr. Durable, but you let Blake Snell go. Instead, you bring in Justin Verlander in his 40s. Yeah, his 40s. Future Hall of Fame pitcher. Yeah. Can he still pitch? Sure. But your rotation did not get better with that. And I'm the type of guy, let's have some perspective here with the Giants, that they won their World Series and they haven't gotten close since. there have been playoff years in 16 and 21, but considering they won the World Series, I was always willing to be patient. Let them tear it down, build this team back up, develop the young players, draft better, and then at the right time, bring in the right free agents. This is not the 49ers where you're trying to get back to that Super Bowl and win now. I've been willing to wait for the Giants because you won 3 World Series. I mean, whoever thought you would have won 3 World Series? I mean, it reminds me of the Warriors a little bit too. I mean, you have the old core. You have the guys who won, but to me, you're never going to get back to the finals again, right? If we're being honest, if you're being realistic, you're holding on for all hope that you can get one more finals appearance. Well, the window's closed with this team, and they're better off, as good as it was that Jimmy Butler came in and they looked good. They're beating up on a lot of bad teams, and they're not going to beat the Nuggets. They're not going to beat the Lakers. They're not going to beat the Thunder. So what are we doing then? We're just prolonging the inevitable that eventually you're going to have to blow it up and get younger. Quit being so greedy. You won 4 NBA championships. I'm not greedy as a Giants fan. I just want to see them build the team the right way and get the right players in there, the mix of youth and a few stars. You know, what's surprising about the Giants is they can't even attract good starting pitchers. They couldn't keep Blake Snell. They couldn't get Corbin Burns. And their failure to develop both starting pitchers and middle of the order batters. You know, it was a criticism of Brian Sabean that he wasn't good at developing young players, and he wasn't the best. But let's compliment Brian Sabean on a couple things. Brian Sabean pulled off some brilliant trades. Even going back to just think about the Jeff Kent trade. Bring Jeff Kent in. 97. Kenny Lofton in 2002 for that World Series run. Then you think about all the trades he made in the World Series years, and that they hit on enough key high draft picks, being Lincecum, Posey, Bumgarner. And then you had other guys come through the system. I didn't even mention Matt Cain. You had other guys come to the system like Crawford and Belt. And they added the right guys at the right time, such as a Freddie Sanchez, Hunter Pence, and so on. So for this season, I mean, I'm realistic. I want to see more young players, and don't be boring. That's the main thing. I want to see young guys that you can take an interest in, that you can be invested in, that the team is committed to. And it's not about winning right now. It's about moving in the right direction, even if it means you miss the playoffs. That you identify the core players that are eventually going to get you to the next level, that will help you possibly compete with the Dodgers, because everyone's chasing the Dodgers right now. Baseball's just not what it used to be, and the Giants don't help. And I have to rip KMBR here for a moment. And if you're from the Bay Area, you appreciate this. But I don't need to hear KMBR give another executive show. Okay, no one cares about the executive shows. I don't need to hear another interview with Larry Baer again. I mean, for me, that's just an automatic turnoff. Oh yeah, and the streaming of the games on KMBR.com sucks. Okay, they do a terrible job. You can even just tell when you're listening, all they care about is jamming in as many commercials as they possibly can. They can't ever put enough ads in. They are the advertising leader. They're not the sports leader. They're the ads leader. They are so incredibly cheap. And of course, they're the biggest group of homers you could have. You're not going to have anyone there being honest and critical of the Giants. I mean, good grief. I mean, Larry Baer is probably just signing the checks for Brian Murphy. Are you kidding me? Brian Murphy's with KMBR for 20 years because he's the biggest homer and suck up that there ever's been at the station. Are you kidding me? He's going to have the longest run of anyone at KMBR because, I mean, he practically is employed by the Giants. And the Giants, as other people said, protect him so he won't get canned. And KMBR pretty much, I mean, it's been a ship that was sinking for years. But the station died for good when they said goodbye to Tom Tolbert. And I wasn't even that big of a Tom Tolbert fan, but I certainly respected Tom Tolbert. But I mean, their lineup is just cheap, it's inexperienced, it's budget friendly. And, you know, part of radio, again, I'm not going to act like I'm an entertainer myself. I'm not an entertainer in any way. If you like to listen to me, you do. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. But radio, if you're being employed to be in the business, it's not about just information. You have to be entertaining to be on the air. And these guys, so many of these young guys, they're not interesting. They're not entertaining. They don't have much of a personality. I mean, again, I've ripped the morning show so many times over the years. Enough's been said about Brian Murphy maintaining his position at KMBR. But what they did with Greg Papa having Greg Silver, I mean, that Greg Silver, and then that's bad enough. Really, all you have left at KMBR is Greg Papa. But even Greg Papa can only be so honest about the 49ers during the football season. But of course, I respect Greg Papa. But the afternoon drive show, the dirty work show, stinks. I mean, it to me, it is the pits of radio. I mean, it used to be on these two stations. You had the Razor and Mr. T with Tom and Ralph. And then it wasn't a great combination. I mean, Tom had a lot of different partners, but the one before Adam Copeland came in, you had Larry Krueger and Rod Brooks. You at least had the experience. You at least had people. I mean, I just could not get over the fact that, of all people, Larry Krueger was let go. I mean, that's when you know KMBR was only looking at the dollars, and Cumulus was only looking at the dollars when they let go Larry Krueger, who's probably the best pound for pound a radio host in the Bay Area for Adam Copeland. I mean, you can say what you want about Rod Brooks, but Larry Krueger, I mean, he has the following that he does. I mean, the fact that he has like almost 20,000 more subscribers on YouTube than KMBR does, I think speaks volumes about his work. And the fact that they had to bring him back in because we're like, oh, well, we need all the help we can get, but we're going to do it on a, once, just an hour a day. Because, again, we're mega cheap, but we do need listeners. Because people do not want to listen to dirty work. Greg Papa's son, Derek Papa, and then Adam Copeland. I mean, who wants to listen to these young guys? These guys in their 30s who are boring, uninteresting, and they're just not entertaining. They don't have any good takes at all. They're there because they're cheap, they're affordable, and no one else wants them. That's why. And the fact that KMBR has this Giants roundtable like the game did for 95. I mean, the game did for the Warriors was a joke. The Giants are not the Warriors. The Giants are not the 49ers. And it's not good for business if your number one team for your station is a baseball team and one that's as dull and boring as the Giants. And it kind of goes hand in hand. You think about that. The Giants are dull, KMBR is dull. The Giants don't put out the big bucks, KMBR doesn't put out the big bucks. They really mirror each other. It's amazing. They really are a perfect marriage, the Giants and KMBR. And hey, I am a Giants fan. I would love to see things change. Hopefully things will change. But at least one area the Giants aren't cheap with is their announcers. Appreciate John Miller as long as you have him. Kruk and Kipe, but especially John Miller. John Miller is, if we were to rank the top 5 play-by-play men, John Miller is easily a top 10 play-by-play announcer in Major League Baseball history. Probably a top 5 play-by-play announcer, and just the impact he's had and the legacy he's had in less than 30 years. I mean, he came over in 97 to be the Giants play-by-play man on the radio, leaving the Orioles. Of course, he was still working at ESPN. He's been there for all 4 World Series, and it's been a joy listening to John on the radio all these years. I mean, it's hard to imagine anyone being better than John Miller. And that's why we end up talking about things like this, because it's not that John isn't worthy of it, and he should be recognized. But if I'm being honest, I would rather talk about the team on the field. But who's a memorable player on the field right now? Who's a player that's going to be an all-time great? Giant that's on the field or on the diamond right now. I don't have anyone. So hopefully there's more to talk about than the ballpark and the announcers, and in time we'll have a good baseball team to talk about.